All right, so our next movement is your first foray into Olympic weightlifting. So Olympic weightlifting consists of the clean and jerk and the snatch, two very functional movements with very high mobility and athletic demands. So these are great because they transfer really well to life outside the gym. So first one is called a hang power clean. And we're gonna start with our finishing position actually. So we're gonna think about where we're going to end up. And that position, you already know. So we talked about our front rack position, our feet in our squatting stance, our elbows are going to be up tall, our rib cage is tucked down nice and tight. So that's the position we're gonna end up in. And as a matter of fact, we're actually gonna end up in just a slight squat. So in addition to the elbows being tall, I'm gonna sit back into the very beginning of a squat stance. So we already covered that rack position and that's where we're going to finish. Now our starting position is another shape that you're similar with, and it's from the deadlift. Instead of going all the way down to the floor though, we're just gonna be at the knee. So what that looks like is this. I'm going to sit back, my hips go to the wall behind me, and that bar is gonna be right at the top of the kneecap. You can see that my shoulders are over the bar. So if I were to draw a line down from my shoulder, we see it's in front of the bar. My back is also nice and flat, so I'm not hunched over. I'm thinking about staying engaged, my belly's nice and tight. From this position, the first thing I want to think about is just getting to stand up tall. So we'll just sit back, squeeze to stand up tall. Next step is I want to think about pushing my knees out and then jumping with my feet glued to the ground. So I want to think about jumping up with my feet glued to the deck. So sit back, big jump, feet glued to the ground. Next step is I'm just going to let my elbows carry up to the sky. So my hip puts power or speed onto the bar, and then I'm going to use my hands to guide the bar upwards to the ceiling. So I sit back, I drive up, and pull those elbows nice and high. One more time, sit back, drive up, pull those elbows nice and high. Next step, I'm going to start with my elbows high, and we're going to work on getting through into that rack position, which we just talked about. And all that involves is going from this high hang position into snapping our elbows through as fast as we can. Okay? So at full speed, it's going to look like this. Sit back, big drive, elbows through into that receiving position. One more time, I sit back, get into our front rack receiving position. This is a complex movement and it's going to take years to master. So don't sweat making mistakes. It's going to take time, but I promise you'll get it with some consistency. All right, guys.